What's going on, guys? Paul Talks Patriots back with another episode. We're going to start off with the NFL playoffs like we did talked about last week. Got two really good games, two close games. Can't complain. And the AFC we'll start off with the early slot game. The Chiefs beat the Ravens 17-10. Started off, it's a pretty good game. The Ravens honestly just couldn't really get anything going. But on the Chiefs side, not too much production on offense either. But Patrick Mahomes, if it comes down to a close game, you're always going to take his odds, right? He finished with 30 for 39 throwing with 241 yards and a touchdown and no interceptions. So solid performance from him. Honestly, not too great by his standards. A lot of people were giving him scrutiny for him only really passing behind the line of scrimmage or within 5 or 10 yards, which was good to see. It was like a breath of fresh air for me as a Patriots fan, honestly, because the media loves to just hype him up so much. On the other side, Lamar didn't really do too much. He put up some decent numbers. He had 272 yards passing with a touchdown, but he did have an interception. And honestly, it didn't really his play didn't seem like he put up those numbers. He could have done a lot better. And honestly, last week I thought he played better, even though his stats didn't really say he did. And I can't blame it all on him. The Ravens' offensive line was super inconsistent. They had some really good blocks on runs early on in the game. And then, really, I don't know, they just kind of disappeared. Lamar was sacked 4 times, but he really should have been sacked about 7 or 8, I would say. There was at least 3 plays I can think of where he escaped a sack just because of his athletic ability. So, also, the Ravens, 81 rushing yards, and a lot of that was just Lamar scrambling on pass plays. So offensive line for the Ravens really did not show up to play, it seemed like. Travis Kelce, though, a bright spot of the game. He passed Jerry Rice for the most playoff receptions in a career. He finished the game with 11 receptions for 116 yards and a touchdown. He always shows up in the playoffs, so no surprise there, but hasn't really produced too much by his standards this year, so it was good for him. Good to see him getting going. Big storyline now is Patrick Mahomes is going to his 4th Super Bowl in 6 years, which is almost unheard of. He, before the game, was getting a lot of conversation about the greatest of all time, getting compared to Tom Brady. It's only gotten worse since he won this game, and it'll continue to get worse. But so far, I've been looking at a lot of comments, and no one's delusional enough yet to say that he's even close to Tom Brady in the GOAT conversation. I am scared, though, I will say that. He's on a trajectory right now. He's just going this way. We'll see how long that lasts, but that'll be interesting in the very long term. Switching over to the NFC Championship, the 49ers beat the Lions in a shootout. It was 34-31. Jared Goff, he had an okay game. He finished 25 for 41 with 273 yards and a touchdown pass. The Lions as a team started off really hot. They got off to a 14-0 lead early on in the game, and it really, they had all the momentum in the world. The Niners didn't have an answer on either side of the ball, it seemed like. And going into halftime, it was 24-7. Dan Campbell decided to kick the field goal at the end of the first half and give his team a 3-possession lead. Yeah, he decided to kick the ball. He kicked the ball. And then in the second half, it was just all downhill. It was bad plays from the players on the lines, bad coaching on the Lions staff. You had a Josh Reynolds drop pass on 4th down that he should have had any NFL wide receiver could have caught that ball. You had the Jahmyr Gibbs fumble. And then right after that, you had a 3-and-out by the Lions after that turnover. On the coaching side, the coaching aspect, you go for it on that drop pass by Josh Reynolds. You shouldn't have even gone for it. You're in field goal range already, and you already decided to kick the field goal the first time at the end of the first half. Why not do it again? Could have gone up 17. It's a 3-score game against the great 49ers team. You gotta do that. And then guess what? They had another chance to do the same thing, and they decided to go for it on 4th and 3 within field goal range again. This was later on in the game when they were down 3 points, and they decided to go for it. I don't know why you don't just tie the game up there, but that really screwed them up. And then on the last offensive drive that the Lions had in the game, Jared Goff, probably could have maybe looked for people on the boundaries and get people out of bounds, but he didn't even do that, which is, if you're going fast, sure, go for it, but you gotta hurry. He took his time, the offense took his time. Ben Johnson didn't call the best plays to get his field down quick enough, and they kept completing passes, but they weren't getting out of bounds. Wasted a lot of play time. And then you get down to go to the goal line, and you pass it twice, and then on 3rd down you run the ball. I don't understand this at all. They don't get in. They waste the timeout, and the game is over, basically. They need a miracle after that. They do score the touchdown, but couldn't get the win at the end. But that's enough for that. The Super Bowl is the 49ers and Chiefs. It should be a good one. And I'm excited for it. I'll be definitely be rooting for the 49ers, even though I am very nervous about the Chiefs. Let's switch it over to the Patriots now. They're continuing their offensive coordinator search. Their defensive coordinator search is over. They hired from within again, shockingly. DeMarcus Covington. He's been with the organization for several years, working as a D-line coach. You've seen production there for a good minute now. Yeah, he's been with us since 2017, coached the D-line since 2020, where you've gotten good production from your D-linemen. So good for him. I did not see that coming. I can't say I'm surprised, though, that they hired from within for another position. As far as the offensive coordinator role goes, it doesn't seem like they'll be taking the same route. They've interviewed 11 people now, a couple who have already accepted different positions. I don't know how. Off the top of my head, I don't think any of them have been coaches on the Patriots, current coaches on the Patriots, because you know how our offense was the past couple seasons. Anyways, 8 out of 11 of them, just had to make this point, 8 out of 11 of them are from the McVay-Shanahan tree, and not one of them is Wes Welker. Like, you can't give me a Wes Welker interview? It makes so much sense. Makes so much sense to me. I would get so much credit for that, too. Like, it'd be awesome. They'd be like, Paul, yeah, you know what you're talking about. We're going to watch your YouTube videos even more. No, couldn't get it. Whatever. They're interviewing 2 new candidates. That would be Clint Kubiak, the current 49ers passing game coordinator, and Scott Turner, who is the current Raiders passing game coordinator. Both second-generation coaches. Clint Kubiak, you might know it, the last name. It's a little less common, sticks out more. Gary Kubiak, who was the head coach for the Texans for a while back in the 2000s, I think, to early 2010s. And then coached the Denver Broncos when Peyton Manning was on the team. He was there from 2016 to 2018 and won Super Bowl 50 with the Broncos. As far as Clint Kubiak goes, he started his NFL coaching career in 2013 as a Vikings offensive quality control coach. Spent a couple years with the organization and then went to Denver when his dad became head coach and was an offensive assistant there. After Gary got fired from the Broncos, he went to Minnesota, and Clint followed again and was their QB's coach there. Gary retired in 2021 and Clint took over as their offensive coordinator. Only lasted one season there, which isn't really ideal, but he went back to the Denver Broncos following that and became their passing game coordinator. You've seen the production this current year from the 49ers, obviously going to the Super Bowl. You've seen they have the great weapons, but a lot of production. Brandon Ayuk, he was just named All-Pro and Pro Bowler, and not to take away from George Kittle and Deebo Samuel, who are also Pro Bowl players, but Brock Purdy also, as much hate as he gets, he does produce for that offense. So the passing game has been well under the hands of Clint Kubiak. He could be a good guy for us. Moving to the Raiders passing game coordinator, Scott Turner. He's the son of former NFL head coach Norv Turner. Also a name you might recall just because Norv sticks out, but he got his first NFL job as a Panthers offensive quality control coach. This was early 2000s, and then moved to the Browns for 1 year as their wide receivers coach in 2013. Worked his way into the Vikings organization as their quarterbacks coach from 2014 to 2016, which was also when Norv Turner was the Vikings offensive coordinator. Norv, I believe he was fired. I'm pretty sure he was fired. Either way, he left, and so did Scott Turner with him. Scott went to Michigan for a year as an offensive analyst before finding himself in the NFL again as under his dad Norv as the Panthers quarterback coach from 2018 and 2019. He then decided to take his own route and became the Commanders offensive coordinator in 2020. He lasted 3 seasons there until he came into his current role as the Raiders passing game coordinator. With all that being said, the most likely guy to get hired right now is neither of them. It's looking like Nick Caley, the Rams' current tight ends coach, is most likely to get the job. He's going in for a second interview. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. They like Caley because when you're a tight ends coach, you have say in the passing game and the run game. You're in all those offensive meetings because tight ends, a position where you do a little bit of everything. So you look at the Rams' success, and he has a lot to a credit to that. So I don't mind that hire. I don't think you can really go wrong with any of these guys. I think Caley has proven more for himself over the past couple of years. So we'll see how that goes. I do expect a decision to be made this week. Don't be surprised if it's Nick Caley. You can be surprised if it's anyone that I haven't talked about today, I would say, because they keep continuing to interview people. Caley, I think, is the only one that's gotten a second interview, though. So be on the lookout for that. We'll talk about it more next week on Paul Talks Patriots. Until then, I'll catch y'all. Peace.